Director.
Hello.
We would like to welcome you all to our Burke campus. We are so excited for this event. This school has been here serving families since 1988. So we've been here for over 32 years serving child care to our early childhood children. We're so excited about that. So we're honored today to welcome Governor Northam and Mrs. Northam to our facility, as well as Virginia House Speaker Eileen Fillicorn to acknowledge the bill that will expand the access to child care assistance even more to families in Virginia. So we're extremely excited for that, and we welcome you all. And right now, I'm privileged to introduce Governor Northam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Well, good afternoon. It is good to see everybody, and it's, for one day, it's nice to be in the shade for a little bit. So, Sharice, thank you so much for allowing us to come to your wonderful school, and thanks for your hospitality. And, I asked Sharice when I came, I said, where are all the children? And she said, well, it's nap time, and so we don't want to disturb the children. I said, well, I could go in there and really school them on how to take a nap, but here we are. But Sharice, thank you, and it's just a pleasure to be here. We have a lot of elected officials, and it's always dangerous to start picking folks out, but I am going to recognize as many as I can. And first of all, starting with our President Pro Tem, all the way up here from Portsmouth, Virginia, Louise Lucas. Louise, thank you. And you're going to hear from Madam Speaker in just a little bit. Speaker Fillicorn, thank you so much for your leadership, and what an exciting day this is. Delegate David Bulova. David, thank you for all you do. I believe I saw Delegate Tran. Delegate Tran is here. And our chair of the Fairfax County Board, Jeff McKay. Jeff, you're here. And besides you, the Honorable Mark Sickles, Delegate Sickles. Mark, thank you. We also have our Secretary of Health here, Dan Carey. Dan, thank you. Our Superintendent of Public Instruction, James Lane. James, thank you for all you do. And let me see, Jenna Conway. All right. I saved the best for last. Jenna, thank you. If there are any other elected officials, please raise your hands, and on behalf of Virginia, thank you all so much. As we say, you've heard me say this before, there is power in every child, and great beginnings lead to tremendous futures. It's kind of like the difference between building a foundation on sand versus building it on a rock, and that's what early childhood education is all about, a strong foundation. So that's why we're expanding access to quality early childhood care and education, which has been a top priority of our administration. And just a couple comments on why early childhood education is. We talk about the didactics of learning your numbers and letters, but it's so much more than that. It's about healthy choices in life, staying away from drugs, and picking good foods for our nutrition. It's also an equity issue, quite frankly. And when we talk about individuals that have access to early childhood education and those that don't, it really separates. It's a wedge between the haves and the have-nots. And so we know that children learn to read up until the third grade, and after the third grade, they're reading to learn. And so children are at a tremendous disadvantage if they're not reading by the third grade. So the earlier we can get to our children, the better. And finally, something else that we have been so focused on in Virginia, and this has been a tough year because of the pandemic. It's been a tough year for Asian Americans. There's a lot of hatred and bigotry in the world, unfortunately. But, when we are able to educate our children at a younger age, they learn that we're all God's children, that we're all in this together. Doesn't matter what country you're from, the religion you practice, who you choose to love, or the color of your skin. And again, this is why early childhood education is so important. So today, I'm proud to celebrate our latest effort to reshape Virginia's early learning system. Over the past 2 years, we have passed transformative legislation that will make early childhood education accessible for more families and children. We're launching a pilot program to include 3-year-olds in our state preschool programs, and we're dedicating $8 million to increase pay equity for early childhood educators in day homes and childhood settings. Beginning this July, the Virginia Department of Education will oversee our early childhood learning system. I want to recognize David Bolivar, Delegate David Bolivar, who carried House Bill 2105 this year to help us focus on the future of early childhood funding and to make it easier for educators to adjust to new changes in the pandemic. David, thank you so much for your leadership. And you're going to hear from her in just a minute, but I also want to thank House Speaker Eileen Fillicorn. You know what an amazing leader she has been, and you all know her history, but she is the first woman who is the Speaker of our House in 400 years. Believe it or not, it took 400 years, and I want to tell you something. I have watched and worked with Eileen, and she is making up for lost time. So Eileen, thank you for all you're doing. In particular, this bill, House Bill 2206, expands affordable child care access in Virginia using federal emergency funds. Her bill expands access to Virginia's child care subsidy program to families earning up to 85% of the state median income who have children not yet in kindergarten. This means a single parent earning up to $60,000 a year can now access quality, affordable child care options. And the bill removes other barriers that prevented some working families from receiving benefits. Our early childhood educators have been on the front line of Virginia's response to the pandemic, and they have shown that in-person instruction can be done safely. Sharice, we were just talking on the way in here. You all have been open the whole time through this pandemic, and that's commendable, so thank you for that. Virginia is home to more than 6,000 early childhood programs, like right here, the Northern Virginia Academy of Early Learning. These programs will play a major role in getting Virginians back to work and getting our children prepared for success in school and beyond. We want more children and families to have access to these types of programs. I would encourage every family with young children to visit commonhelp.virginia.gov. That's commonhelp.virginia.gov to learn more and apply by July the 31st. I want to end my comments by saying that this wouldn't have happened without a team effort. You've heard us say before that it takes a village, and I just want to thank all of you. And it's hard to single out everybody, but I want to thank everybody who has been so involved, has been part of that village to make sure that our children receive the education that they deserve. Because I said earlier, there is power, literally power, in every child. And so every team, as you all know, must have a leader. And I'm not that leader, but she's with us today. And she's my leader after hours. But you know, this has been a top priority for Pam and me to make sure that all children in Virginia have access to early childhood education. And as you know, I had to go all the way to Texas to find her. I could not find anybody in Virginia. But she has truly embraced her position as First Lady. And she gets up every day and really works hard and does everything that she can to benefit our little learners. So please welcome to the podium the First Lady, my wife, my boss, our leader, Pam Norton.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I mean, with all the masks and mics and things, you feel like you have to do a wardrobe change when you get up there. I'm going to turn around so I don't get tied up in the mic thing. It's so great to see everyone again. It was Delegate Tran and I hadn't seen each other. She's already had another baby since the last time I've seen her, so it's great to see you all again and see you in person. I warned the governor, I said, you better be nice when you introduce me today. We'll have to talk about that after hours comment. Well, you all know that both of us worked in pediatrics for years, and you know, it wasn't until we had children that we really began to appreciate that magical early childhood time. I mean, truly, for the first time, how amazing that time period is when our kids could both outsmart us by the time they were 2. So you realize that early on when you actually have your own children, what a difference it makes. But today we're not just here to sign House Bill 2206. We are here to ask for your help. This has been such a difficult year for families. So we've worked along with our friends in the legislature to dedicate hundreds of millions of federal relief dollars to early childhood providers and families over the past year. Incredible stories that we've heard over and over again. Now we need your help to spread the word that with this bill, more help is on the way. Thousands more families can gain access to affordable, quality early childhood care and education. We are so grateful to our many partners who share our belief that all children deserve good food, adequate health care, excellent education, and a supportive community. A great start in life. Thank you for helping us to get the word out when we prioritized our frontline early childhood educators for vaccinations. And it was thanks to many of you in here today that we were able to do that. And now we're here asking for your help again, to tell every parent and family in Virginia with a little learner at home about this great opportunity for quality, affordable care. We all know that the most critical period of brain development happens in those first few years before a child even enters kindergarten, when almost half of the kids are coming without all the skills they need to succeed. We know every child in Virginia is capable of success in school and beyond if they have access to the right resources. Yet quality early child care in Virginia often costs as much as college tuition. This year, because of the pandemic, we're seeing the largest single drop in literacy skills among kindergartners that we have ever seen. Teachers are reporting grave concerns about the social emotional development of our littlest learners. However, there is one thing we know about our children. They are resilient. And if we intervene now, we can plant the seeds of hope. House Bill 2206 was developed so that more parents can have access to great early learning programs like this one right here. Expanded access is more important now than ever as we return to in-person learning and recover from this pandemic. Expanded access will allow more providers in Virginia to open or to keep their doors open. Enrollment for this expanded access has already begun and will run through July 31st, so that's not much time. So y'all get out there and get busy, okay? Again, you can go to commonhelp.virginia.gov or your local Department of Social Services. Like the amazing children that we see peeking through the windows up here today, and they're going to come down and be with us, I think, in a few minutes, which makes me so excited. Like these children, Virginia's children are strong, they are resilient, and they will recover from this pandemic, as you all know, because you've been working so hard for this. I know our littlest learners are so important to every one of us here today, and that's why we're here today. Wonderful advocates like you are fantastic superhero teachers like Sharice. In fact, 89% of Virginia's incredible early educators are open today, and a majority of them, with undaunted courage, remained open through the entire pandemic, and I think that deserves a round of applause. Now, I have the great privilege of introducing someone who's been a fierce advocate for families as well. Fierce advocate throughout the Commonwealth, a trailblazer, and the first ever, as the governor mentioned, Madam Speaker of the House of Delegates in its 400-year history, patron of this important bill, and I look forward to traveling with her to get the word out. Please help me welcome Speaker Eileen Fillercorn. Thank you, dear. Don't get tied up in this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you, and welcome to the 41st District. Thank you so much, First Lady Northam, for that kind introduction, and thank you for your leadership. Without your leadership and without your support on this issue, today would not have been possible. Thank you. As First Lady, you have continuously uplifted the concerns and the priorities of so many Virginians. Your work on this legislation is no different. In fact, it's crucial. So from the bottom of my heart, and I know I speak on behalf of so many of us around the Commonwealth, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your commitment. And thank you for your passion in serving for the Commonwealth of Virginia, and especially the little ones. As we all know, these have been very difficult, challenging times for the Commonwealth of Virginia and actually for our entire country. And while the vaccine rollout implemented and led by Governor Northam's administration is one of the very best in the country, many Virginians are still hurting. Many Virginians are still in need of support. That is why I am so proud of the historic way the House and the Senate and the governor has responded to this health crisis, the public health and economic crisis, through bold action. One of the pieces of legislation that I am most proud of is this bill, HB 2206, or also known as the Child Care Assistance Bill that the governor will be signing shortly. Using federal funding, as you heard the governor mention, provided through the Emergency Child Care and Development Block Grant, HB 2206 expands the existing child care subsidy program that's administered by the Department of Social Services in partnership with the Department of Education to provide financial assistance for child care families in need during the public health crisis. And we know the numbers have been rising. The legislation will allow families with children under 13 to apply for assistance for part-time or full-time care, while also expanding eligibility to families making up to 85% of the state median income, which is also roughly $88,000 a year for a family of 4. It also makes parents who are looking for work eligible for the subsidy, which is a critical provision given the economic crisis we find ourselves in as a result of this pandemic. It also eliminates barriers of access with a focus on equity. Childcare has always been a challenge, but this bill will help alleviate some of that financial burden for middle class and low-income families. Thousands of Virginia families are eligible for child care assistance for the first time ever with the signing of this bill. And it's also interesting to note, of course, that the bill was passed, fortunately, with an emergency clause, meaning that the families will get the help as soon as possible, meaning now. I cannot thank again the First Lady, the Governor, DSS, the Department of Education, and I think I saw Deputy Secretary here with us, Kathy Bircher, right there, hello Kathy, and child care advocates all around the Commonwealth for helping to make this legislation a reality. And I also saw, I saw Grace Reef, I saw Anne Marie Toohey, and I too will stop calling out names, but just some other folks that are here, thank you. None of this would have been possible without all of your help. This legislation will also ease the burden on single parents who are juggling every single day, trying to take care of their kids, trying to put food on the table. The most recent weekly U.S. Census Bureau Household Pulse Survey results for Virginia shows, this is interesting, 48.5% of families with children under the age of 18 have lost income since March 2020, compared to 38.7% of households without children. This legislation will help women stay in the workforce rather than having to leave because they cannot afford childcare. That's not good for our economy. That's not good for families. And that's not good for women. And this legislation will help. Together we have made real impact. Together we have improved lives. And I am so thankful to have the leadership of the governor, his administration, and in the collective goal that we all share of building an even better Virginia. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna jump rope.
You slipped
I
right
think
over
I think you're
it.
ready to jump
You
rope.
slipped right over it. Senator. Watch out.
Jump rope.
I got it.
Yeah.
Get over there. Get over there. I'm gonna try to get this out of the way.
So, first thing they're gonna see is both of our gray hairs.
Jenny, I'm smiling.
Me again.
You too.
So this is House Bill 2206. The patron is the Speaker of the House of Delegates, the Honorable Eileen Philicorn. Congratulations. Tour time, right?